Hi, I'm Andrew Stevenson, and in today's video I'm going to be doing two things. Firstly, I'm going to be apologising for not producing a video in the last 6 weeks. Life gets in the way. Secondly, I'm going to show you how to make an inventory book. I'm going to set the document up first, and then I'll go into why I'm making a book and what sort of people will want to use it. I'm going to do an 8.5 by 11 inch. You do it whatever size you want, but 8.5 by 11 I think is a good size for this sort of book. Change the colour to CMYK, and we'll set the margins up. Now, it's been a while since I've made a book, so if these margin sizes are wrong, I do apologise, but I'm fairly certain that this is right for this sized book. As I mentioned before, the inner margin is dictated by the thickness of the book, and for the books we're producing, which are under 150 pages, 0.375 is the correct inner margin / gutter size. I'm also going to put a bleed in just in case we add images. It's a good practice to add one anyway, just because it's easier to have it and not need it than need it and trying to add it later on. We don't need an inner bleed because there's nothing going to be cut off from the page from the inner side. So I click create. This is the empty book here. We're going to be working in the master page because it's going to be just a simple repeating 1 or 2 page pattern, which is going to run through the rest of the book. I just want to say a couple of things about inventory books and why I've decided to knock one up. My brother owns a pet shop. He's had it for the last 20 years or so, and it's grown to quite a size now, which means he has off-site storage. So he stores some items of stock in the shop, others are kept in separate storage containers about the city. And the till system he has is quite advanced. It does do stock taking and things like that, but it only tells you the full amount of items that you have in stock. So say, for example, there are 100 pig's ears in stock. He could have 50 pig's ears in the shop, 25 in one storage unit and 25 in another. Now, if he forgets where he's put 25 pig's ears, first of all, it's going to annoy him because he's lost 25 items of stock. But also, that stock will go out of date. It could go mouldy. It could, cause damage to other things that are in storage. So this book I'm going to make today is going to be aimed at a bricks and mortar shop. I'll niche it down to a pet store, but you can niche it down to whatever. It also doesn't have to be a bricks and mortar store. You can target it for any business you want. Say someone is working from home, creating things and selling them on Etsy or on their own website. They can use this inventory book to keep a check of their stock levels. Or if you're selling your low content books in other places, you're buying author copies from KDP and you're selling them at markets or in shops or things like that. This is a way you can keep an eye on what stock you have. But I'm targeting mine to the pet trade. So we're going to work in the master pages. And the first thing we're going to do is make a table. I'm going to have 4 columns because I think there's going to be probably 4 important bits of data that I want people to store in this book. So I'll use the table tool to drag out a table. So I've selected all of the cells and I'm just going to open up the table tab and I'm going to set the height of each cell to dictate the writing area. And I'm going to do it 8mm. You can switch between units of measurement and affinity and it'll convert it to the the document size that you set up at the beginning. So because I used inches, although I typed 8mm, it's converted it to 0.315 inches. An 8mm, I think, is, it's a good size for lined areas to write in. I'll just drag that down a smidge. So I'm going to use this top bit here as just a general page heading. I'll have an area for the date, maybe a section for a name for whoever took the stock check, and then maybe a location section. It might not be necessary, but I'll add it anyway. I'll just drag that over there. Make the table whatever size you want width-wise, as long as it's inside the margin. That way you won't have any bother with, the KDP error checker. I'm going to now set up some rules for the text. Again, I'll just select all the cells. I'm going to have it 15. And I'll just centralize both of these alignment boxes. So that way all of these cells will be uniform. It's not important to do these bottom ones, to be honest, but I am going to do something later on, which that just setting up now helps. For the headings, I'm going to use 4. You use however many you think you'll need, and yours might differ to the ones I'm going to use. So the first column I'm going to use is in the UK we call it a SKU code or a SKU number. It might be called something else where you live, but it basically stands for stock keeping unit, and that is just a number that identifies a certain product. It could be called a product code or anything like that. I'm just calling it SKU because that's what I know it as. And it's generally going to be a random selection of numbers and letters. Again, normally 8 digits long. And that code is useful because you can identify a certain product. And if there are, again we use pig's ears, if there are 14 different types of pig's ear, and by that I mean different suppliers, different sizes, if some of them are hairy, some of them are. Some are smoked, some are puffed. That will point you to the specific product. However, it's meaningless really to our eyes unless you know that means pig's ears. It's worse than useless. So we'll also have description. I'll just delete that. Next column will be quantity, if I spell it right. Then the final column will be location, because like I say, we have several locations where items are stored. There are a couple of different ways to use the book as well, which I'll explain later on. I'll add some more rows. Again, keep inside the margin. And that's it. That is the basic table. I'll just rearrange some of the sizes. SKU doesn't need to be so big. Neither does quantity. Description, I can imagine it being maybe quite wordy. And location, again, I'll give that a bit more space. The next thing to do is add a text box. Just above, and again, align it correctly. And here we're going to have the date. Or checked by. Again, we don't need that much space for date, so now you can, if you want to, put a line under here. You can, format the date a bit differently. I'm just leaving blank spaces because it'll do. And that's it. That is your basic page, and that page will be repeated throughout the book. Now there are a couple of things that we're going to do just to help, smarten it up a little bit. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the colour of this top row of cells. I'm also going to turn them bold. Change that to 15. And I'm going to change this colour, fill, to a grey, just to make it stand out a bit. Now obviously that increasing the size of the font has messed with that slightly, but that's fine. And that, I think, it looks a bit better. We've only changed the colour and the font size and things like that, but it just makes it look a bit more professional. I'll shut that down for a second. Now if we go to page 2, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to fill in some examples, just so whoever's using the book will understand what it means. So for the SKU code, I'll just put a random selection of numbers and letters. And the description: pig's ears bulk. So now we know that that is a pig's ear. It's not pre-packed. It's not a nice neat. You get 2 pig's ears in a bag. It's just a big bag of pig's ears that you would sell individually. Quantity, we will say there are 50 in location in the shop. So there are 25 in store 1 and 25 in store 2. The idea being that if you are in the shop and you have this stock book, you know that you've got 50 pig's ears in the shop, but you know that there are 25 in store 1 and 25 in store 2. The other thing you can do with this sort of book is, and this is what I would do, is I would have a separate book for each storage unit. So store 1 would have a book and it would only record things that are in store 1. Store 2, the same, would have its own separate book and it would only record things that are in store 2. That way each storage unit can be updated individually, and then it can be copied over to the master store book, which would include all of the information, and that store book will be kept at the shop. But it's perfectly fine just to have one. The next thing to do, I'm going to change this font colour into a grey so it doesn't stand out so much. And I also change it to a handwritten font, just so it's obvious it's an explainer. And that is a functional, clean and clear inventory stock book. And you can add as many pages as you want. I'll just copy this over to page 2. So select it all, Shift Control drag, and then I'll add some more pages. Just 9 as an example. You add however many you need. And there you go, that's a perfectly simple, perfectly clean, perfectly functional stock book with the explainer on page 1, but it doesn't appear on any other page. Let's remove the master from there. Page 1 is always going to be the title page. And that's it. You could go to the title page, add a text box, and then just have inventory logbook. And that's it in its simplest form. Export that as a PDF, put different covers on, target different businesses, upload it to KDP, and make sales using your metadata, that's your book title, and your keyword boxes, to target individual businesses. Or you can do what I like to do, which is to save this as a template, export as template, I'll just call it inventory. Call it inventory. And then that way you've got this base copy saved, and you can edit as you go. So for me, I was making this into a pet supplies inventory logbook. So I will put pet shop inventory book. Again, change the colour to black, make it bold, increase the size, change the font if you want to. I do have some pet specific fonts, but Mr. Doggy, me personally, I would go for a more professional looking one. But you use what you like. Make it fun if that's the sort of target you're going after. There's no reason why you couldn't make 10 pet shop inventory books, each one with a different font, on the cover page. Another thing I like to do, just to tie the niche even more. Again, if you've watched me videos before, you know what I'm going to do, but it's always fun to watch. And that is, I'm going to draw a rectangle around the text. It's fine using grey if you want. If you're going to print in black ink, grey is still fine. I'm also going to drag an image over this page that ties into the niche. So for me, I'm going to use a pet one. If you're making a book targeted at online candle makers, use images with candles on. Niche down as specifically as you can. Use all the white space available to you. It costs you no more to print, and it makes your book stand out from the competition. Another thing you can do is, these books, some people like to use books as kind of like a fashion statement. So I'm a big fan of Art Deco. I don't know why. I think I just like the geometric shapes. So there's no reason why you couldn't do a pet shop inventory book or any inventory book and use the Art Deco geometric patterns in the background. Something that just makes your book appear more personal and more, niche down. If someone likes the Art Deco theme, or if someone likes flowers, it doesn't matter if it's a pet shop or a candle maker or a flower shop. If someone likes flowers, they'll buy a book with flowers on it. So I'm going to add an appropriate image to this page. There we go. I'll just stretch that out over the entire page. Remember to go over the bleed mark so you don't have a white edge, and just drag that image to the bottom. There you go. It looks instantly better than a plain page. Another thing I like to do is to use the white space on the page. Like I said, it doesn't cost you any more money and it's very little effort really. And you do it in a similar way. Draw a square over the table and drag that to the bottom of the pile. I'll change that colour to white. And then I'm going to add another image. And again, just pull the picture out as big as you need it. If you need to, duplicate the image, do it. It's fine. That's why I'm using seamless images. And I'll just copy and paste another rectangle and then drag it across there to the other page. So that's it, a simple inventory book which has been elevated and niched down into a one for the pet trade. And when it comes to making another inventory book for one of the other 100 businesses out there, you can either edit the images on the master page and this page and save as a different project, or you can go to File, New, and instead of being in the presets, go to Templates and find the inventory that you saved, and then edit this new document there. So that is it for today's video. So it's the first video in 6 weeks. I apologise for that. I also apologise if I've rambled on. If you have any questions, please do leave them in the comments, or go through the previous videos. I might have skipped over things a bit in this video because it is my first one back and I'm feeling a bit rusty. Hopefully it won't be as long next time. But thanks for watching the channel in my absence. Please do subscribe if you haven't already, and like and comment on the videos. It really does help me out. Thanks for watching.